Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, November 23rd, the 7th of Kislev. I hope everybody had an enjoyable Shabbos, a good weekend, kind of a gloomy, glum day outside, but that doesn't stop us from doing what we have to do. First of all, I want to give a yashikach, a mazel tov to all those who are studying Daf Yomi and finished Maseches Eruvin and have now today begun Maseches Pesachim. I know that from all the people that I've spoken with who have been doing Daf Yomi, nobody's all that upset to be done with Eruvin, a very, very complicated undertaking and a study. And I myself, I'm glad that it's over. And I was talking to myself and telling myself that. The problem is I don't always listen to myself. But it's also a good opportunity for those who maybe had started Daf Yomi or were thinking about it. It's a good time to start. You can always pick it up. So today Maseches Pesachim begins, the laws of Passover, and there are so many ways that one can study by listening online, following in English translations, whatever it might be. It certainly is accessible to us. Also want to give you a shikoach to Bat-Shev and Murray Halpern for an outstanding job last night at the Atid presentation, which obviously had to take a different look this year, but connecting Israel and here with us in Essex County and supporting our school, and really Lior Suchard was fantastic. It kind of blew my mind a little bit, and the ability to change gears, and the word I keep using is adaptability, and that we have to figure out how to work in these new times. So yashikach. Great, tremendous mitzvah you're doing for the school, so we could provide high quality Jewish education for our children and really be a model for the community. So I was glad to be a part of that last night. On this past Shabbos, we had a wonderful double simcha as we celebrated the bar mitzvah of James and Hudson Stelmack. So mazel tov to Shelly and Vlad and to the entire family. And thank you for sharing your simcha with us. The boys, they did a tremendous job. I know after months and months of preparation, and it's not easy. Of course, there was a lot of talk about being twins. Not easy being a twin, not easy having to share, certainly to share simcha, but one of the things I know that we desperately need are simchas and things to celebrate. And when we could celebrate not once, but twice as much, it just makes it all that more gratifying and exciting. So Shelly and Vlad, thank you so much. Mazel tov, thank you for your sponsorship today. The sponsorship today actually has a dual meaning, and that's the theme that I want to focus on. Of course, in honor of the bar mitzvah of James and Hudson, but also today marks 6 months since the passing of Shelly's late father, Leon Karasik, and Zechrona Livracha, which leads me to my point today. And this might be the feeling that we've been having all year, and there's this concept of mixed emotions, is that there are so many of us who have experienced such hardship and loss, and Shelly particularly, I know how close you were with your father, and how do we sort of put the two together? How do we put loss and celebration? Like, is it okay to celebrate when I'm in a period of mourning? Is it okay to be happy, to smile, and how do I bring myself to be happy? How do I bring myself to have enjoyment when I'm actually in mourning and I'm still acutely feeling the loss of my loved one? And so many people are going through this in one level or another. And the truth is that in Jewish law, in halacha, this is very much accounted for, that while there are specific laws of mourning, the law, halacha, also takes into account that, sometimes life cycle events happen, and sometimes, kids get married, and kids have bar mitzvahs, and there are celebrations to attend. So it's all accounted for, and the halacha understands that while maybe we refrain from certain things during our period of mourning, at the same time, life doesn't stop. At the same time, we move forward, albeit in a state of mourning, but we do move forward. And I think that's keenly reflected in the beginning of this week's Parsha, where we left off last week's Parsha, from where the boys, the last reading we had the first reading from the boys, the last reading from the boys, and it was so nice to see, by the way, the two of them up there together and not actually hitting one another, so it was really very, very special. And Yaakov Avinu, he has to run away from home. He has to leave his family. His brother wants to kill him, and he has to go to some unknown place. And he's on the road, and it says there that he has a dream. He goes to sleep, and he has a dream, and what does he see? V'hinei sulam mutzav arza v'rosho magih hashamayma V'hinei malachei Elokim olim v'yordim bo. He has a dream, and there's a ladder connecting heaven and earth. And the Torah goes on to tell us about the angels going up and down the ladder and telling him, and God saying, don't worry, I'm going to be with you. God says, don't worry, I will guard you in all of your walkings. I will bring you back to this land. He says, Ki lo ehzavacha ad asher yimasisi es asher dibarti lach. I will not forsake you until what I have done that I have spoken to you. I will keep all my promises. And I think about what we're observing today and reflecting on and also celebrating is that, for a lot of people, and particularly, again, for Shelley, for you, thinking about your father, 6 months, I can't believe it's 6 months already. But you have a ladder that's connecting heaven and earth. And part of your mind is thinking up in heaven. And at the same time, we have to be grounded with our feet on the earth. And it's as if your father is saying to you, much like God said to Yaakov, don't worry, I got this. I won't leave you. Lo ezavcha ad asher imasisi es asher dibarti lach. I will not forsake you until I have done what I have spoken about you. Your father will never leave you. Physically, he may not be here, but the lessons and the mannerisms and the qualities that he gave to you and that he instilled in your children and the wonderful relationship that he had with your children, that's something that can never be taken away. And Yaakov realizes this when he wakes up. He wakes up from his sleep and he says, surely God is present in this place and I didn't know. This must be the place of God and this is the gate of heavens. And he goes up and he goes on his way and he makes a vow. And he says, Vayidar Yaakov neder lemor im yeh Elokim imadi ushmarani b'derech hazeh asher anechi halech v'nasan li lechem lecho beged l'bosh v'shavti v'shalom el beis avi v'haya Hashem li le'Elokim. He takes a vow and he says, if God is with me, if God is going to guard me on the way that I'm going, if he's going to give me the basics that I need in life, all I need is food and clothing. That's all I need. And then I'll return in peace to my father's house and Hashem will be a God to me. This stone is a pillar which becomes the house of God. And whatever you give me, I will give back to you in tithes. And Yaakov, realizing that God has not forsaken him, his father has not forsaken him, so he will remain ever dedicated to his father, to his God. And I think that's what we're talking about today. When we talk about bar mitzvah, when we talk about celebration, we're realizing that, we worked so hard all these years to get our children to a certain point. And now here they are. And by the way, the work is not over. Maybe the work is just beginning. And maybe the work about continuing our tradition. But where do we get the strength to do that? How do I know it's going to be okay? Because God promised me, my Father in heaven, so your Father in heaven, he's reaching down to you and he's saying, you know what? It's going to be okay. All you have to do is do your part. So while we are in a state of mourning, we're still in the year of mourning, at the same time, we can appreciate the celebration of life cycle events. And though maybe it doesn't look like we had imagined it for a number of reasons, but it doesn't take away from the meaning and the import and the nachas and the pride that you should have, certainly in your boys and also in your girls. So Shelley and Vlad, mazel tov to you. Again, may your father's neshama have an aliyah. And, we struggle every day, and we're with you in the struggle of understanding this duality, of understanding how do we juggle these mixed emotions. But you're not alone. But there is a way. There is a way, and certainly I know that your father would have certainly enjoyed this simcha, and I'm sure that on many levels he actually did because he was so much a part of it. So again, may his neshama have an aliyah, and we should all figure out adaptability. How is it that we cope with whatever life throws our way, no matter how trivial, no matter how difficult? We, as a Jewish nation, as a people, as a community, we find ways to make it through. So here is yet another example of our ability to do so. Again, we should only have simchas here in shul and celebrations are very, very much appreciated and needed. James, Hudson, super proud of you. I hope that we'll see you real soon, and everybody have a great day and a great week ahead.